because first of all, I have a girl crush on Heather. So that's, I've confessed that to her husband and he's okay with it, which scared me a little bit. You know, I just think she's a really delightful person, and I think she has something to say that a very specific group of people are really going to be blessed by. I'm going to introduce Heather in a minute, but you know, my mom was like a craftaholic. She loved that stuff. Like that was what we would do together. That was our like mother-daughter thing. We would go to Michael's, you know, and then whatever that place was before Michael's existed, and we would go there, and we would. It was just such a happy thing that we would do together as mother and daughter. We would look at the yarn, and we would look at all the colorful paints, and we would look at all this stuff, and we would have so much fun, and we'd have to hide it from my dad. We'd be like, what do you mean? We nothing. What's in the trunk? Huh? You know, wait till like the coast was clear, and then we go bring everything in. And, you know, my mom had a little craft room. You know, you got to have a little craft room. She'd have all her stuff and just barricade the door. Dad doesn't need to, you know, see the latest acquisitions. But it was just a really great, fun, bonding thing. And crafty ladies are just a certain group, you know, they love the color and they love the texture. And so if that's you and you've joined us today, you are going to meet someone who is a real kindred spirit and just a great, wonderful lady. Heather Campo is my special guest today. And she's the author of this brand new bestseller, lots of categories, The Beginner's Guide to Junk Journaling. And she was born in Germany, Army brat, but she's not a brat. She's a sweetheart. She's an Army sweetheart. Then moved to Massachusetts, traveled extensively, obviously, went to Amherst, right? You know, UMass Amherst, and got a degree in Russian language. So I just want to say, Privyet.
Privyet.
Hey, Kakala. All right, we're ready. Here we go. Spokana Noichi, we're ready. And has traveled, in fact, like your first trip, we don't want to get too far afield, to what the former Soviet Union was right after the big democratic movement, right? Glasnost and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was very timely.
I want to go to St. Petersburg. She's got a master's in teaching. She has 20 years of teaching experience. So if you want to learn crafts, you want to learn anything, she's your gal. Loves photography, sewing, painting, scrapbooking. I mean, if it's pretty, she's there. She also is active in her church, leading a weekly women's group. And her husband, Michael, I think he might be here with us today, and two adult children is an oxymoron. She's got an adult son and an adult daughter, and they're adults, and they're all grown up. Yeah, okay, they're still. Well, welcome. We're really excited to have you. This was your dream, right? Now you're an author. You go.
Yes. I think it's my dream to be here on this interview. I've followed your ministry for 20 years. I've taught your Bible studies in, you know, the basement of a church, and collected materials when you went, I think, on a mission trip to Guatemala. And, you know, I'm so blessed to be under your mentorship. And then we met when I just really felt led to go to Israel. And, you know, that was an event that, you know, changed my life. It made the Bible come alive. And then one of the ladies in the group and I decided, well, we've been to Israel, now we have to go to Ireland. So, you know, you have been on this journey with me. I'm so grateful. And Tamara's help was so invaluable, just listening and working through, you know, all of my questions and anxieties and hesitancy to go forward and give birth to this dream. It's awesome. Thank you.
I love it. I think it's amazing. So what is, the first time I found out about junk journaling was through you. I never heard of it, which is amazing because I love crafts and I love journaling, and I've never heard that like we could bring those two things together. So tell us what that is. What is junk journaling?
Yes, and it's funny that it ended up as part of the title because you and Tamara kept wanting to remove junk from it and just let it be journaling. But junk journaling is a way that we take junk, all of this accumulated craft supplies that we have, like books and papers, to create these beautiful, unique journals. But it's also a way to literally recycle and take things that you may throw away, and like envelopes, sheet music, packaging materials, magazine pages, even clothing and jewelry, and reinvent them and use them to make something that I think is meaningful and has great sentimental value.
So this is a great message actually for today, because people are like, we need to find a more sustainable way of living. We need to stop being so wasteful. And you have an amazing, you're going to share some ideas on how to do that, how to take the things that you already have and make them into something beautiful, either, you know, for yourself or to share with friends. Christmas is coming up. I hate to tell everybody that, but it is, it's going to get here. So an amazing, really meaningful gift that you can make for people. How did you kind of stumble upon, that's like a whole nother world, this like junk journaling, there's like a whole community. And how did you discover that this was taking place?
Well, even into childhood, like Tamara alluded to, that my favorite gift for my birthday was a box of art supplies. And even the first day of school, like I'm just starting school now, I love to go out and get stationery and pens. And so I would get an art box, and I did different things like I would like paint or draw on rocks and try to sell them. I would get all the neighborhood kids and I would direct plays, we would play school. So my bossiness came in very handy there. And then when I was in 8th grade, I was in a summer program and I took painting and drawing and writing. And they published, you know, my work in the, you know, the little booklet. And that was really the last time while I was in school that I got to express myself, because as I entered high school, the academics became more challenging. As you said, I was interested in Russian at that time. And I participated in the band and had musical creativity, but not artistic. But the one thing that really helped me to get good grades was projects, because of my creativity. So I excelled, and I would always choose the projects in high school and college. So, you know, I think my creativity was kind of pushed aside. But then when I became a mom, that gives you an excuse to kind of go back to your childhood, and you can go to the playground again, and you can go swimming and do arts and crafts. And of course, the scrapbooking craze, like in 2000, I went to one class and I was in 100%.
Okay.
And that helped me with cropping of the pictures. That moved me into photography, and I did wedding photography. I did a lot of you know, my children and their friends, senior pictures and things like that. And there's a publication that features a lot of, we call it mixed media art. So that's where, you know, you're combining paper and paint and collage. And then I found an online class with an artist that I really admire. Her style is very different from mine, but it was called Salvage Journal. And she created the class, or this journal, just out of a need for her to really go back to a sense of play in her artwork and experimenting. And she had taken an old dictionary and refilled it with various types of papers. Some of them she had painted, some of them were like antique ledgers that she found at a flea market. And she just rebound them and then stuck in all of these scraps. I remember one time she took like a piece of string that had fallen on a craft table and stuck it down to add texture to the page. And it was just such a beautiful and unique thing. And I was, you know, enjoying the class. And I realized that this was the hobby that I had, you know, hoarded my whole life for, because I keep cards, birthday cards, Christmas cards. And, you know, I had drawers full of them just ready to go and cut out the, you know, sentiments and pictures and stuff. So, and then I found out actually a couple of my friends were interested in it. So it became kind of a bonding of our friendship as well, that we had a shared interest.
And that kind of brings us a segue to the biggest issue that crafty people have. I know when I was really all in my craft mode with my mom, and then, like you said, homeschooling, I think I homeschooled just so I could like buy more crayons and things. Cut things out. So there's one big problem, and if we have crafty people here, they know what it is. We want to talk about it. The Bible says, confess your sins to one another that you may be healed. So we want to set people on a pathway to healing and deliverance even.
Yes.
So talk about that.
So I think we all get enthusiastic about a craft supply, and we have a certain intention, or maybe we have a gift that we want to create for someone, or we see an idea online and we get excited, but then it gets to be maybe hard work, or we run out of time, or we get frustrated, and then we think, oh, if I just buy one more thing, that will put together and that will get me going again. And Donna, you talk about like the dopamine hit of like, yay, shopping. You got
no, that's it. That was it for me. I'm like just going to the store and going through the aisles and seeing all the stuff and putting in my cart and taking it home, and it's so colorful, and I can put it in the drawers and put it on shelves and label the shelves. You have all this stuff, and then you start to feel kind of guilty about it.
Yes, and you feel overwhelmed because then you don't know where to start. And it's really ironic that the more you have, the less creative you become. And
say that again, because you just dropped a truth bomb. Say that again.
The more you accumulate, the less you create. And so it creates this frustration, and it's just overwhelming.
Which explains the subtitle of the book. By the way, I should tell everybody this. We are here today with Heather Campo, and she's the author of this brand new best-selling book, The Beginner's Guide to Junk Journaling. And I'm going to read the subtitle because we're really proud of it. It's simple steps to transform your craft clutter. Just admit it, okay? Because we're friends here and we've all done it. Your craft clutter, your sewing scraps, your packaging, your paper and paints. And you can change them. You can transform them into something beautiful. Bullet journals, gifts, keepsakes, mementos. And you can use your stamps, your ink, your hobby hodgepodge. Now this is the big, I would like to say that I did come up with this sentence, and I'm extremely proud of it because it's actually from my heart. The stockpiler secret strategy to go from overwhelmed to inspired. So if you, like me and some other people that we know, are a bit of a stockpiler, and you love to go to Michael's, and what are some of the other places? What's it? Hobby Lobby. Yeah. Hobby Lobby. It's like heaven. It's like heaven came down and glory filled my soul. Like that's the place that you go. You don't need anything, but you go there. And so you've stockpiled all this stuff and you're like, then you feel overwhelmed. So the idea now, you're going to take us from that place of feeling overwhelmed by our stock and even kind of guilty. We get all this stuff. We don't know where to start. To get out of that and take us, and I think this is your goal, to turn, I almost want to say burden, right? Of craft stockpile, craft clutter, and turn it into a blessing. By the way, it's not that Heather doesn't love us, but she's at school and probably hiding from students.
Yes, I'm in my classroom and the sensors are shutting the lights off. So I apologize for that. But yes, and I think that we get so much stuff. For me, I just get stuck. When I'm paralyzed, when I'm overwhelmed, I can't do anything. And, the tips in this book, it comes out of my experience. I hoard things, I procrastinate, I start with great enthusiasm, I don't always finish things. And so really when
are there any other sins that you wanted to confess just on this public forum right here?
There's a lot. I get messy, but when I wrote this book, I really went through these steps myself. So I have a few simple steps, and then I'll say a little bit about each of them. So the first step is to curate. You have to address the issue. I have this stockpile of things, and I really went through the process, and I was at first afraid that it was going to take too long. And so then I put it off, but really I started small. I would take one bin, because we've got bins of stuff.
Bins. Yes,
bins, piles, bags,
binders and folders. Yeah.
And I went through it piece by piece, and you want to make sure that you end up with a place for everything. You only want to go through it once. You want to go through quickly. And I know with me, a lot of the items that I have, they're not valuable, but they're sentimental. And so you're tempted to walk down memory lane, as I call it. And Donna and I were just talking about my time in Russia. So, you know, I find this pin that, you know, I bought when I was in Red Square, and, you know, oh, and then you think about your friends, and then, oh, look at this, I found this postcard. And so the temptation is to stop and go down memory lane. But those things that you find that don't belong in your craft bin, you have to put them aside and deal with it later and go on sorting. And really, I wish I had timed it beforehand. I had intended to, but I mean, I thought it was going to take, say, hours or a whole afternoon. And I think it took me maybe 15 minutes. And so, you know, it really, it hangs over your head, and then you do it and you're like, oh, that was easy. And it motivates you because you've done something. So, oh, I can be creative. I'm not wasting that creative energy, you know, with all this guilt. So then after you curate and you have the items in your collection that you want, and you know, it may be time that some of your items are no longer useful. Like in the past, if you were a big sewer and, you know, now you're not, you don't have the dexterity in your fingers, or it's just not desirable, you might have to choose to part with some things, give them to someone else, you know, and that's okay to do that. After you curate and have the items that you want, then I explain how to create ephemera. So ephemera is a really important vocabulary word for junk journalers. And the official definition is these are things like tickets, posters, menus, advertisements that originally were meant to be thrown away. So they were cheap, they were created on paper, they were printed up for a short term. But now these things have actually become collectibles. And junk journal is a huge market for vintage, you know, authentic vintage ephemera, but also we as junk journalers like to create our own tags and tickets and pockets and keepsakes to use in journaling. So I actually created a lot of ephemera once I discovered junk journaling, and I never even thought that I could create a journal on my own. That I thought that was too difficult. But the ephemera was so beautiful and easy to create that I stayed on that step for a long time. The next step is to construct a journal, and there's various ways to do that, but I suggest that you take papers and then you bind them into the cover. And the cover that I suggest in the book is to recycle a mailing envelope. And now that once you learn about junk journaling, you look around and you see that you can use anything to create a book. So for example, on Sunday, I was in a princess mud run type thing. And so they gave us a bag, and all I can think of now is how I can make this into a journal by folding it, and I can use the handles, and I can, you know, print out the pictures, and we all wore these tutus, and I can use the, you know, the tool to make, you know, little ties on the tags. So you're not going to be the same once you start creating. Our teacher gave us this little label for our school supplies, so I can incorporate that into a fall journal. I went to a baby shower, and I was cringing as they were throwing away all the tissue paper and the tags and the envelopes and the paper. So, you know, when that time comes in my life, you can just take the trash and use those to make pages, and it would make such a beautiful baby book with all the scraps. So after you construct your journal, and believe me, you can construct it out of anything, is to combine. So you're combining all this ephemera that you've created into the journal that you've created, and the possibilities are endless. And I talk about the metaphor of a Christmas tree, where when you decorate a tree, there's different parts, and you have to make sure that you have balance and you have similar colors and similar themes to tie it all together. And then the next step is to compose. And I think this step is the most difficult for people, the most challenging. But I really think it's the most important step that we have such interesting, full, yet brief lives, and we want to make a difference. And it's so important to record, the events, the memories, the people, and even the triumphs and tragedies that we have in our life. So it's really important. I give some tips about composing, even if you just, write a date, the people that were there, kind of like captions. That's really important to capture those ideas. And
Well,
then
a big thing right now is even, and we talk about this idea of bullet journaling, where it doesn't, people like, they hear journaling and they're like, oh no, I don't have to. I mean, they want to read, but I don't have a lot of time. It doesn't have to be a lot. You don't have to fill the page with words. You can, because you're a creative person, have a picture that's worth 1,000 words, but then just add like a few bullet points, just add a few key highlights, right? Isn't that isn't that the idea that you can communicate and create this memory, this memorabilia, this keepsake, either for yourself or for generations to come, or to give as a gift, that is just almost a combination of visual and text, with a little bit heavier leaning on the visual side, right? Is that the idea?
Exactly, yes. And then I talk a lot about collage. And for me, collage is a way that I kind of start to activate my creativity. And it's for those times that you think you aren't feeling creative, you're not ready to drag out a big project, you're bored with the project you're starting, but you're doing something creative. So for me, I just love creating collages, and it's a way to, again, recycle junk mail. I get all these postcards in the mail all the time advertising different businesses, and they're a nice thickness of material, and I can use up my scraps. And it's very meditative, just the repetitive motion. And, research shows that this repetitive motion is very relaxing. It's meditative. It helps to lower your blood pressure. It increases your mood. So even things, I'm talking specifically about junk journaling, but things like knitting, sewing, cutting, all of those repetitive, soothing motions have found to have true health benefits. And so when I talk about collage in the book, I also give some other ideas, like coffee dyeing paper. Like when there's leftover coffee after everybody has had theirs, you pour it over paper, you let it soak, and then you use those papers that have this aged quality to them in your junk journal. So collage represents just jump starting that creativity. So those are my simple steps. I think Tamara was writing them down, taking notes for us.
I think we do have them. I think we do have a question. Someone's like, well, wait a minute. I thought we had to curate everything. So you kind of start with curating, then you're moving forward, and then you probably go back and curate again. And it's like
it's a vicious cycle. Yes. Yes. And I don't even have to shop. People have been gifting me with all kinds of amazing things to use in my junk journals. My friend gave me all these beautiful linens that she has. Another woman gave me a box of books. What else did people give people? Oh, I know. My cousin, she read my book, and then she sent me a recipe card that my grandmother had handwritten. So that was so thoughtful. So yeah, even when I try not to buy anything, I come across it.
I think when people know that you're craft, so I think it's a constant process. So it's curate, create, construct, combine, and then compose. And I actually have right here a junk journal that Heather made for me as a gift, and she gave it to me when we were in Ireland. So of course it's green and has a lot of different elements in it. You guys can see it's different dimensions. There's like little folders where I can put things. And so I'm working, yeah, my big reveal. I'm in the process of becoming an Irish citizen through my grandmother.
Ooh.
I'm studying the Irish language, I'm researching Celtic Christianity, and I'm writing little notes and dreams. Like one section is going to be just like bed and breakfast that I want to visit when I'm there, because once I get there, I think I want to walk around the whole country for, and plan that out or something, maybe take a tour of the whole country. And get to know my native, but I'm like all my dreams, I'm using it for like dreaming and visioning of what I want to do. So it's just a beautiful example of it's meant to be something that becomes a keepsake either of your life or that you can give. Like my daughter just got married, you could give her something that would be a beautiful journal that she could then maybe on her anniversary every year or whatever. That it becomes a real treasure. So that's the idea, is from your mess, your overwhelm, into something that's really valuable and really, really treasuring. And I guess that's kind of the next question is, is it really possible to take things that individually they're kind of like meaningless, and you put them together, almost in like this is almost like a random, but it's like so special. It's so beautiful, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, and it was very interesting. I recently traveled to England, and one of the days I put on a journaling workshop. And so all of the ladies had very similar materials. I gave them papers, I gave them little icons to put there. We collected different pamphlets from the various castles that we had visited, but each woman put it together differently, and it expressed the uniqueness of who they were. And some people embrace the idea that the pages can be different sizes, there can be uneven edges. Other people were very precise and wanted everything to match. And it was so fascinating. But the way that you can get all these random elements to have some cohesiveness is definitely with the use of color. So obviously in Donna's journal, where it was for Ireland, I used a lot of greens, a lot of plaids, a lot of shamrocks, and then the images also helped to put it together, and even a theme or an idea. I'm looking forward to fall, because I think fall is such an inspiring time of year with for the color and the idea of change. And then you want to repeat those things so that on the pages that are different, each of them has a little bit of something that is the same. And really, if you're creating the gift for someone else, or even if you're creating it for yourself, when you think about that person and what they enjoy, I think that lends itself to the theme of the journal. Like now, everywhere I look, I find something, oh, this has strawberries on it. This reminds me of my friend, or this has daisies, or, something like that. I made coffee journals for the ladies in my family. And I was so happy. My sister-in-law said it was the best present ever, because we all love coffee and reading books. And so it was really meaningful to her.
Nice. Hey, and I want to tell everybody that I'm Donna Parto, and I'm here with my special guest, Heather Campo. And she is the best-selling author of The Beginner's Guide to Junk Journaling. And I can't believe I forgot to mention, very important, if you're joining us live today, you can get a copy of the book for free on Amazon Kindle. And the way that you can grab your copy today, you can go to book.junkjournalbook.com, book.junkjournalbook.com. And in fact, you can just go to her website, junkjournalbook.com, junkjournalbook.com. And that's where you'll find the information. You'll find a link to the book. You'll also find a replay of this interview. We'll post it right after this live. You'll find information about, you have an online community that meets right on Facebook, right? They can get information about that. And you also have a big giveaway. Why don't you've got a special event coming up, and you've got a giveaway. Can you tell us a little bit about each of those?
Sure. So I'm going to have a junk journaling workshop live in my Facebook group. My Facebook group is called Expressions in Junk Journaling, and that's taking place September 1, 2, and 3. And that will be at 4 p.m. So I'll be going on Facebook Live, and I'll be showing you a few different techniques. And on September 1st, we're going to start with snippet rolls and clusters. And so you can craft along, and I hope that you will join us. It will be a lot of fun. And then the giveaway that I have is I have lots and lots of junk journal ephemera and journals to give away to share my wealth. And so we've asked people to take a picture of themselves with the paperback book, and post it in the Expressions and Junk Journaling Facebook group. And you'll be put in a drawing, and I will choose 5 lucky winners that will receive a junk journal package of their choice.
And this is how you do it, right? You just hold up a picture of the book, take a picture. There you go. And then you post that.
Yes.
On the Facebook group. And the way to find your way to the Facebook group and the replay, they can get the replays, I'm sure, if they aren't able to start right away. And all the information about the giveaway, they can just go to junkjournalbook.com. That's probably the easiest way, junkjournalbook.com. There's no spaces in there, to junkjournalbook.com. And that has the links to all these fun things, to the Facebook group. It has a link to get your free copy of the book. If you want, I mean, the paperback, it's a really beautiful book. I have to say, it's really kind of fun. If you want to get the paperback, you can buy the paperback and post a picture of yourself holding up the paperback, and then you'll enter to win the prizes. Did you explain the prizes?
I think I did. So there'll be five prize packages, and I will have you choose, and so it'll be a journal and filled with various ephemera to match the journal. Fun.
And all you have to do to enter to win that is get a copy of the paperback and post a picture of your beautiful face holding up the book, and you'll be entered to win that. And when is that drawing?
I believe we're going to do it September 10th. So that will give people time to check out the Facebook Live and create a few things, look at the book, get it shipped. So September 10th will be the drawing.
September 10th will be the big prize drawing. So everyone's busy, right? How do you find time to do this?
Yes, that is a good question. And my answer is that we need to redeem the time that so many of us, we waste our time. I do it. I come home from work, and then what do? I sit and scroll on my phone, and then after dinner and chores, we're tired and we watch TV, and we can do something productive during that time. And so that helps us to not feel guilty, right? Because we have these supplies. And when we actually take action, that spurs us on to do more. And so I am a very busy person. I work, I exercise, I'm involved in lots of things. That was one of the biggest challenges in writing this book. And Donna was very helpful keeping me on track. But we all have the same number of hours.
That was me cracking the whip. That's what that was.
And, junk journaling is something that I enjoy. So one of my friends commented that, after reading the book, she realized that we shouldn't feel guilty for making time to create, because God in Genesis, we first see him as the creator. And so I know that when I'm creative and I'm expressing my best gifts, like if I'm teaching or if I'm enjoying a moment crafting by myself, or if I'm traveling, those are the moments that I feel my best. And so it's really important that for me that I make time to craft, because then I feel like I'm a better person and I'm better able to go into my job that may be challenging or face the difficulties of my life because I've filled up, my spiritual well. So I think it's really important, and we shouldn't feel bad for making it a priority if it's something that we want to do.
I confess to you this morning, I turned off notifications the day they created notifications. I've never had them. I don't let this guide my day. I have no idea, like, oh, I messaged you. I don't know. I don't do that. And I would just encourage those of you, for so many of us, it's a dopamine hit. Ding, ding, ding. Stop what you're doing. Go look at it. I've never done it, but I watch people do it. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, ding, 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 ding. Like, right?
Yes.
Put that aside and get your dopamine hit. Like Heather said, being creative. And so often we're like, oh, I'm so tired, I can't. Well, when you're doing something that you love, it's a creative outlet, That's going to bring the dopamine. That's going to bring the energy. That's going to, and like you were saying, it was so many people like, oh, I feel overwhelmed. I feel guilty. Why did I buy that? And then I didn't use it. You're going to feel so good about yourself. That energy breeds energy, and it creates that momentum and propels you forward. So here's a good question, because I have no artistic talent. I just like colorful stuff. Do I have to be an artist to do this? I mean, do I have to be like really super talented and be able to paint beautiful things?
Definitely not. And that's where this idea of documenting moments and writing things down, junk journals can be used the same way that one would use a notebook, just like as a planner, writing down quotes, to-do lists, notes, things like that. But also, you know, a junk journal can suit your style. I think I gave the example of, you know, using a shopping bag. You know, your style doesn't have to be lace doilies if, you know, you're a jean person. You can incorporate your own style to express the things that you like. And you know, I think I could make a junk journal about just about anything. I don't like cars, but I could create a junk journal about cars, or you know, a baseball game. Like, that'd be really painful for me to sit and watch a baseball game, but I probably could do it, right? Or about
That would not be my thing. You know, I think and I'm just thinking of an example from my own life where I think this might have been really, really meaningful. I remember reading the book on the 5 love languages and realizing that my younger daughter, her love language was words of affirmation. So one year for Christmas, her gift was that for 1 year, every day, I was going to write. I bought her a journal, just a plain boring one. And I said, every day, I'm going to write something specific that I saw you in you that day, not generic, specific to that day. And I'm going to write in it, and I'm going to put it on this chair here in the living room. And you can take it to your bedroom and you can read it. And when you're ready for mommy to write another nice thing, you put it back. Well, let me tell you, you better believe that journal was back there every day. She wanted that. And I did every day for a year. I wrote in that, and I just, you know, thought, wow, how much more beautiful would it have been? She's a dancer. If leading up to Christmas, I had created something really beautiful, like even like memorabilia of her dance, and then each day wrote in it. Or I know Christmas is getting closer, we're doing this in August. If I had been saving her stuff and gave her that as a gift with the mementos and with the words of affirmation, I would just encourage everybody, if you're crafty, you know, do that love languages test with your family members and find out if any of them are words of affirmation people, or even quality timers, you know. And I just think that this would be the perfect gift for those people in our life who really value those words of affirmation, because then they have it permanent and beautiful record that you really thought about them. Even acts of service. I'm thinking so many love languages where you can make this work, that it was an act of service, that you gathered up all the memorabilia of all their sports events or all their dance recitals, and you put it together into something beautiful and added like little commentary. What do you think of that idea?
I think that is a fantastic idea. In the book, I use the example from the Bible of the widow that was needed to pay back her debts, and she didn't have any way to do that. And so the prophet asked her, "What is in your hand?" And she had a jar of oil. And so for me, this means junk journaling, but I think it can be applied in a universal way. What is in your hand? And we have friends that have a vacation home in Maine, and they constantly use that to bless other people and give them rest and retreat. I have other friends that are wonderful cooks, right? And they use that to minister to people. Some people are just gracious hosts and invite people into their home and give them a warm and welcoming environment. And so, of course, I want to promote junk journaling, but really all of us have something in our hands, some God-given talent, some God-given drive, some gift, and we're responsible to use it to bless other people. And that's the most important thing.
And you already talked about this, but maybe as we're coming to a close here, some of the benefits of crafting, because I think there's a temptation if someone isn't real crafty, or maybe you have people in your life like, oh, why are you wasting time over there? But really, it's a productive time. It's meaningful.
Yes. The benefits of crafting has been the practical part of it. It's really recycling, right? Instead of throwing away books, having them end in a landfill, we're recycling. We're using up those supplies that we've hoarded and have sat in drawers, or the horror on the dining room table, and cluttering up space. You have the intrinsic reward of the satisfaction of finishing a project. You have the joy of giving someone a heartfelt gift. Then one of the big ones for me is just this state of flow that researchers have discovered when I'm just caught up in the process of crafting, and I don't have to have an end product in mind, but you lose track of time, you get caught up in the moment, and that's so healing and refreshing. And they've shown that it lowers blood pressure, it decreases depression. And two, the crafting community is a very warm community. So you get this sense of community, of fellowship with other crafters. You find people that have the same values as you. It lifts your mood. It gives you a sense of pride. There's so many creative benefits. I think everyone should do it. And again, for me specifically, it's junk journaling, but really anytime that we're expressing ourselves creatively, like sewing, cutting, painting, and those are all activities you can incorporate into junk journaling. That repetitive movement has great healing benefit.
And I wanted to kind of circle back to this idea that when you create something, you finish something, you've accomplished something, it just releases so much energy to go on to the next thing. And this was one of your dreams, right? Was to create this book, to put a book out there in the world, The Beginner's Guide to Junk Journaling. And it really is a beautiful book. It's very practical. It's inspiring. You even mentioned you included biblical principles in it. And I want to let everyone know that it is available today if you're joining us live. And you can go to junkjournalbook.com, and you'll see a link and take you over to Amazon, where you can get the Kindle version for free today. Also, if you get a copy of the paperback, which I highly recommend, and then post a picture of yourself and post that on Amazon and tag Heather. And there's instructions on how to do that on her website, and post it. You can enter to win one of her custom junk journals, which I already have one. I love it. I'm ready for Christmas with my red and green over there. And that's also where you can find a link to the community. And I think, Heather, you should have, like when COVID is really behind us all, it would be fun to like have retreats, like you're in England, and everybody gets to we could all go to Maine and volunteer your friends. All get together at some wonderful location and have a weekend where you make a junk journal for that family member who loves words of affirmation, or for that special child or grandchild or spouse, where you just really bring together all their favorite things and encourage them and uplift them. I think that would be really, really meaningful for them. Be sure to go to junkjournalbook.com, junkjournalbook.com. That's where you can get all the information and get in touch with Heather. Dream achieved. How does that feel? And you will end on that note.
Okay. I just want to add too that for me, junk journaling is a metaphor for our lives, right? And we have our lives with our highs and lows. We have, our weaknesses. I'm, this messy person. I have all these ideas that I don't follow through on, but Romans 8:28 says that God works together all things for good. And I'm just so grateful for God's grace in my life. And I just want to,
I love you.
I just want to thank God that I was able to achieve this dream. And I want to encourage everybody that you do need to follow your dreams. And it's so helpful because I'm an English teacher, so I always felt that I had the ability to write a book. I had the desire to write a book, but unless you have a deadline and a plan, it's just a dream. It's not going to materialize. And, you know, I called this year the year of Jubilee because I turned 50. I had this milestone. And so, you know, I kind of decided, am I going to, you know, wait? And, you know, some people feel they're too old to start a project. Some people feel like they're too young, but, you know, are you going to be in the same spot a year from now, or are you going to, you know, try something? And it doesn't have to be perfect. And I remember Donna telling us again and again, don't do ready, 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 inspire, and just, you know, go for it. And I, you know, I needed that encouragement. I needed that jump start to get going. And, you know, what happens? What if the lights go off and I'm in the middle of my speech at the end of my interview? So what? At least I had an interview. And so really, I encourage everybody to do this. Donna's expertise is invaluable. Tamara's encouragement was so helpful. And I was so impressed by just the quality of the work. I would have been happy when she was creating my landing page. I didn't really understood what that meant. And I would have been happy with one. And then she keeps showing me it has this and this and this. And I was just so amazed at the attention to detail. And everyone keeps telling me how, you know, professional things look and how they love the cover of my book. And it has just been a really fascinating process. And I've been so blessed by all the support of my friends and family, people that have been willing to take time out of their lives for an advanced reader copy and take the time to write a review and just say so many kind things. I am so blessed. This has been a dream of mine. So, wow, now I got to find out what the next one is.
All right, well, if it involves either Russia or getting together with you in some way, just let us know, because you are pretty much my #1 girl crush. So I will definitely be there. When I move to Ireland, I'll have this completely filled with the whole journey to get there, and you can come and you can take a look at it. So again, I'm Donna Porto, and my special guest has been Heather Campo. And she's the best-selling author of The Beginner's Guide to Junk Journaling. And it really is it's a beautiful, beautiful book. There's a beautiful, gorgeous picture of her on the cover. She is the queen of junk journaling. I think it's going to be a real movement of Christian women stepping into the creativity that God has put in them and using it to bless people. And I'm really excited about it. I absolutely love it. And I love you. And even the back is beautiful. So you should definitely get that paperback so you can see how gorgeous it is. Tamara, any closing thoughts for us?
Yeah. #1, Heather, I think your next dream should be to run these events. We need to get all of us together, not just us, but what Donna was talking about.
Be fun.
Definitely.
Wonderful idea. EPHEMORA, ephemera. ERA.
Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because you have your free class, and I just wanted to dwell on that because I might even jump on that. It'd be really fun. But I want to clarify that word again, because that's what it says on the page, you know, to learn that word. And so just one real quick line. What is that? Sure.
Ephemera is the throwaway items like tickets, things you need to collect as souvenirs. And junk journalers like to collect authentic vintage ephemera, but we're going to make some. So we're going to make some tags and tickets and snippet rolls and clusters.
Got it. And then junk journal package. That's what people get as a gift if they win. They buy your print book, take a picture and put it on your Facebook group. Are you selling those, or is that something that you're just creating special for these free?
I'm giving them away to 5 lucky winners, and I do also sell them. Yes.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. So they can ask more about that on your Facebook page. Those were some of the questions that came up. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Definitely good.
And then
I'm definitely posting mine. I want to win.
So anyway, thank you, Heather. You're such just being around you, I'm inspired. So it brings out my inner crafty side that I know I have.
She's my girl crush, Tamara. So
yeah, well, you're going to have to share, sister.
Watch it.
I used to sew, and in fact was my inspiration to get my merchandising degree. And then you don't find time for stuff like that. So, and I was just funny because I was looking at the book, oh, she sewed that together, and then she put these, I was kind of analyzing how you did it. And anyway, I think that's going to be a great class. And I want again, it's in the chat, I've typed it several times.
Thank you.
Yeah, book dot. Where are we? Where to go is on the chat, and it is
junkjournalbook.com.
Yep, junkjournalbook. Right, junk journal. I had both. The reason why I hesitated because I originally had book.junkjournalbook.com.
That does work. That does work. Might be easy.
That takes you directly to the book.
It does. Book.junkjournalbook.com.
Yeah. So I just wanted to close with one thing. I'm so blessed, and I was just telling a lady I was talking to yesterday that was looking to work with you, Donna, what a blessing it is to be able to talk to people who are interested to work with you to launch their book. It's so easy for me to brag about you. And for anyone else who has a dream like Heather to, take their own passion and put it into a book form, Donna helps you do that. Not just put a book together, but to get it out there like this. And you could go to donnaparteau.com/rocket if you're interested in applying to work with Donna. She's got very limited space because it's just one person, Donna, who does this, and it's only for a limited time. She's not going to be doing this forever.
And if she's retiring.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Don't say that yet.
I am. Believe me, I'm going back.
I'm sorry, but you is all about doing something purposeful.
That's it. Just trust me. This is a very short season. I keep telling people this is a short season.
You are, yeah. And then the other thing, if somebody wants to also, apply, but in the meantime, also they can pick up, I think this is still live, right? donnaparteau.com/PDF. And I think was an 18-page outline was the exact steps that you use to generate your sales. And that's what I used to share. And I guess I should check with you. It was donnaparteau.com/PDF.
Yes.
And it's still there. All right. So that's a resource if you just want to grab it. So shameless plug for Donna here at the end of Heather's. But I love you both, and I'm just so excited to have been here. Thank you for the honor of letting me join both of you here today.
Can I sing now? Reunited?
No. Okay, let's go.
I don't sing at all. You've heard too much of my singing, Tamara.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. God bless.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. God bless.